Good morning, everybody. Taryn Reeves here, the CEO and founder of Four Eagles Publishing and the publishing house Concierge. And today I am joined by the lovely Christie Moran, who is one of my authors inside of Phoenix Rising. Welcome, Christie.
Thank you, Taryn. I'm so excited to be here and a part of this project as well.
And we're so excited to have you. Now, Christie is an intuitive life coach. She's a multifaceted energy healer and heart-centered business owner. She's also the creator of Feeding the Fire Within and Embracing the Power of a Soul on Fire. These transformational programs are for women who are committed to living an authentic and impactful life. Her work is a combination of inner mindset work and energetic transformation, supported by a strategic framework designed to empower women. She has a soul-burning passion to facilitate career women to experience maximum impact through their deepest level transformation. What amazing work, Christie. Can you tell me more about, your different modalities that you use or you're trained in and why they're so impactful for women, career women in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in corporate for 25 years. So my roles have always been leadership and coaching. That's what has always been what has driven me, that passion for helping people to be the best that they can be. So there's all of those years experience. And then when I started to learn these other modalities, and I started off with matrix therapies, archetypal coaching, passion and purpose coaching, and a whole new world opened up to me that I didn't even know was available. And, I just absolutely fell in love. And I love growing and learning myself. So I just can't help myself. I need to go out and learn more and experience more. And so that led to then me doing other modalities like Psych K, access bars, body whispering, Reiki, you name it. I just keep going and learning more because I love the experience of it. I love the growth within myself, but I love being able to support other people to shift and change things and to really step into a life that they've always dreamed of, but at some point begun to think that it wasn't possible anymore. And seeing their face light up, seeing the light come on in their eyes as they go through these processes and really begin to step into that life, it's just beautiful. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, what a gift to be able to give people, right? Yeah. So when you've developed these two different programs, right? Is it a combination of these different energy modalities that you've learned throughout the years, plus your own life experience, I assume?
Yeah. And that's why I call myself an intuitive life coach, because whilst I have structure to my programs, and this is a 3-month program and a 12-month program, because you can't change your life overnight.
No.
It does take commitment and it does take learning and growth. And as powerful and as magical as these modalities are, it still takes time. People still need to go back into their life and put these new ways of being into practice. And, new things come up. There's different obstacles that they come across that they've never come across before because they've never been doing life at that level. So it does take time and experience to overcome all of those things and to really become somebody different in a way. And so as I go through that structured program, I'm drawing on all of that experience, my life experience, my past career experience, all of those modalities. And it's really great because I'm able to then really tailor whatever we're doing with that person to their needs and what's comfortable for them, because, people are letting go of past traumas, really tough stuff that is stopping them from living the life that they want to live and moving forward in their career and really feeling confident to be putting themselves out there. And so when they're dealing with this really hard stuff that they've been ignoring for a long time, it's great to have all of those modalities because I can then pull from all of those to support them in the best way possible so that they can especially with trauma, let go of that in a way that is supportive and nurturing. It's not about going back and having to relive it and be re-traumatized. It's letting go of it in a way that's right for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
Mm.
What do you feel? This is a bit of a hard one, I think. What do you feel is the best advice that you could give to someone who may be struggling with trauma in their life, or just be in that, I know a lot of people are struggling with this new lockdown and things like that, especially. Like, what is the biggest piece of advice or the best piece of advice that you can give to someone who's kind of a bit down in the dumps, feeling a bit, traumatized by the whole thing?
Yeah. We get stuck in polarity. And what I mean by that is there's always two ends of the stick. So in order to have something that's amazing, there has to be something that's not. To have hot, we need to have cold. And when we get stuck at either end, it starts to own us. So when we start to fight against that situation, we want to ignore it. We want to push it away. We are trying not to let it own us. It actually owns us. And at the other end of that stick, if we jump right in and just continue to live it and be engulfed by it, it owns us. So it's finding this middle ground of being an allowance of, hey, this stuff's happening. Whatever's going on in the world right now is going on. Whatever's happening in your life right now is happening. It's being an allowance of, okay, it's happening. So what else is possible? What can I do to change this? How does life get better? It really is being in the question, because when we start to conclude and try and figure it out, we're stuck in it. We're consumed by it, and we can't see the other perspectives. But when we take a step back and we start to ask questions and go, what else is possible? What's right about this that I'm not getting? What are the blessings in this situation? We start to see all of these other options and possibilities, and it starts to lighten up, and we can start to see a way out.
Yeah, beautiful. That's great. Being with the question. I love that. And the light doesn't exist without the dark. It's just not possible.
No.
Like day doesn't exist without night, and the moon doesn't exist without the sun. It's life, right? Yeah. How interesting. Wonderful. Now, you have written a chapter inside of our next multi-author book project called Phoenix Rising. Did you want to give us a little bit of a sneak preview of maybe what you wrote about inside your chapter?
Yeah. This chapter is all about my marriage. So I got married when I was 23, 24. And, that relationship only lasted 5 years. And I was, I guess, trying to do the right thing. I already had a son to somebody else. And, I had set myself all of these expectations, and I guess taken on expectations of everybody else as well as to what I should be doing, what type of person I should be marrying. And, on paper, that relationship, him, was perfect. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't in love. I kept telling myself, but he's ticking all of the boxes. If I just try harder, then I can make this work. I can fall in love with him. If I can't, what's wrong with me? And so I got really stuck in this relationship and in my own head, beating myself up because I couldn't make it work, because I was wrong. I was clearly broken. And so it was a massive journey for me to come through that and to get to a point where I could actually leave that marriage and begin a new life. And so it really was, letting that person who I was, the person who had made all of those decisions to be in that marriage, that had to do the right thing. I had to let that part of me die, essentially, and rise from that into the next version of me. And, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have the relationship I have today had I not have gone through that experience. So there was so much learning in that. I wouldn't be able to help people the way I do in my coaching had I not have had that experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting writing about it, and it was a long time ago. This is 15 years ago or something. So it was a long time ago. But even going through that process was really healing.
It's one of my favorite gifts that this this writing experience can give somebody. I was surprised. I'm quite I like to think of myself as nicely balanced between the masculine and feminine energies in my business, right? But I'm also a very logical, scientific-based person. Like, I like to know why and how things work and study and that kind of a thing. And I was like, I can write a chapter in this multi-author book project, and it'll be easy, and I'll knock it out, and this is the timeline. And as I got writing, I was like, wow, all of this stuff that I thought I had dealt with came up, and I had massive resistance. I left it to the last minute. And then all of a sudden it just came tumbling out. And I was like, cried for like a couple of hours. It was just this massive release. And since then, since that experience for me, I have expanded in ways that I didn't even know I could. And it was deeply cathartic. Was that your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I sat down and I wrote the chapter in one go. I just smashed it out, and it was the story, but it wasn't the depth of emotion wasn't in it yet. I needed to, I think, go through that process of putting it all on paper and then sitting with it. And when I went back and went to do my first proper edit, that's when I kind of, I was going through that and taking it to another level and going, no, how did I actually feel in that moment? What did that feel like when I was lying on the lounge and my kids were watching TV and I just wanted to pull the blanket over my head and go to sleep and never wake up? Going back there was really tough. And through that whole first edit process, I cried the whole time I was crying. And I finished it and I sent it to my mum. And I'm like, I need you to read this, which was scary in itself, to be honest, because, even though she's my mum and we're close, this was like my innermost secrets from my marriage. So that in itself. And then she came back to me and she was like, wow, she said, that's really raw and vulnerable. Do you really want to publish that? And I kind of went, well, yeah, that's the point. Like, I want people to know that if they're feeling this way, that they're not alone. And if I'm not being raw and vulnerable, if I'm not being honest about how I feel, then those people aren't going to connect with that story because it's not showing them that they're not alone. So that was really important to me. So yes, it definitely was a cathartic process. And it was tough.
So from a trauma-based perspective then, because I suppose that's kind of going back and re-looking at something that was potentially a traumatic event for you. How was that experience, I guess, from that, life coaching transformation perspective? Does that make sense?
No, can you ask again?
So what I guess I'm trying to, because somebody might be listening to this and going, oh my God, that sounds horrible. Like, I don't want to do that. What are the benefits of doing it in this very specific process? Because I, in my case, I'll share, something from my own perspective is that I had done the work. I'd been to counselors, I'd been to therapists, I'd, been on antidepressants, I did, all the things. And I was like, oh yeah. But the writing process had something magical in it. It was like this missing puzzle piece that I hadn't. It was like the last key in the lock to free me from the chains that I'd put myself in, I suppose.
Yeah. And well, I think for me, because this marriage was 15 years ago and I had done so much work since then, I wasn't still in it. It wasn't still, so raw and fresh that I couldn't look at it with new perspective. And so I think that was really the key for me. It was that it was a really, really deeper level of healing that I was able to do through that process that, maybe I wouldn't have been able to do 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But I've done enough now within myself to be able to look at that on a whole nother level. Or had I not have done the work over the last 15 years, it still would have been a cathartic process. The story, I don't think, would have been as deep. The vulnerability, the sharing, the openness wouldn't have been at the same level because I wouldn't have been ready to look at it at that level. But the process in itself would still be cathartic at the level that you're able to handle. And what I love the mind, and what I love about the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind is that it's not going to take you somewhere that you can't cope. It's not going to put you into a situation and give you information to write a story about things that you can't handle. And that's beautiful, because when that stuff comes up, when you've got that opportunity to write a story, to put that down on paper, to share that, you are going to be given exactly what you are required in that moment for that healing in that time. And, when we trust in that, then, we can just look at that and go, wow, okay, this is tough. This is a little uncomfortable, but there's a gift in this for me. Yeah. I think you're frozen. I think Taryn's frozen, so I'm not sure what's happening. We've lost her. I'm sure she will be back on in just a moment.
Okay, we're back. That was fun. Technical difficulty. So I think that's a beautiful way of looking at the whole thing, that it is healing and not traumatic. And I find it so interesting that let's talk from a business perspective now. How are people supposed to connect with you and want to do business with you if you keep throwing up this wall about who you really are or what your experiences really are? And it's like, oh no, look at this, don't look at me, like look over here kind of thing. It's in telling those real, raw, vulnerable, honest stories that people can go, she gets me, or she's been through something similar, or I really like how she handled this situation, or I can see how she has the skill set to help me with X, Y, and Z. That is the secret sauce to standing out online and to successful marketing.
Absolutely. And, being in business and putting yourself out there on social media and doing all of those things, exposing yourself at another level has been a journey in itself. And this chapter has absolutely been a massive part in that journey, because whilst I've been telling snippets of stories and sharing and things already, this is a whole new level. So to be sharing this information, this personal information, about my thoughts and feelings and experiences and who I really am, putting that out there for the world to read is just at a whole nother level. And, I can really see the connection of that to business and people being able to to really connect with who I am and what I do, and if I can help them, because they know me on another level now. So I think from a business perspective, it's necessary. But yeah, what's really driven me is more the ability to be able to touch people's hearts and let them know that they're not alone. Because when I was in that situation in my marriage, I felt like I was alone. I didn't think that anybody in the world would be in the same situation as me, could be as shit as me, could have made those crappy decisions that I made, would be this, person who is going to end their marriage and ruin their family. And, I was just sitting there going, I can't talk to anybody because no one will understand. Everybody will judge me. Everybody will hate me. And so if I can, share my story, and somebody sitting out there reading it can go, oh, crap, thank you. I'm not the only one.
Yes.
Then I've done what I set out to do.
Yeah. And I also feel like now that you've done this big scary thing of telling your story in a real, raw and vulnerable way, which is a first for many people, and it takes so much courage. It's like we get braver to just do it everywhere now. It's like this is now the next level version of me. Like, are people going to not like what you have to say? Yeah, some of them.
Absolutely.
Is it going to hurt? Yeah, of course. But it's like now we have more courage and we're braver and more resilient to move through those scary situations. And the more you do it, it becomes habit, of showing up as yourself. People are throwing around authenticity online, but it's very rare for somebody to actually walk it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
down.
Yeah. And I really believe that if we're not being who we really are, if we're not, stepping into ourselves, into our power, sharing who we are with other people, then the world is missing out. We all have our own uniqueness, our own gifts. And if we're not sharing them, then people are missing out.
Yeah. I love that. Absolutely love that. Now, why did you choose to write with me and my company under Phoenix Rising?
Yeah, I really resonated with the book, the title, Phoenix Rising. Hello.
This is the office manager.
Yeah. I really resonated with the title. For whatever reason, the marriage story is the story that I felt like I needed to share first. And whilst I specialize in working with driven career women, these women have relationships, they have children, they have lives. So it's quite often the stuff that's going on outside of work that is impacting who they're being when they're at work, what they're achieving in their career. And so it just felt right to me to share that story first. And when I came across Phoenix Rising, women that rise from the ashes to step into their power, like that, to take their place, like that's just really resonated with me. And it was like, I really did need to become more of me. I don't want to say a different person, become more of me to step into that, take my place and step into that power and to leave that marriage. And so it just felt so aligned. And, I'd been watching you on social media and seeing you pop up here and there. And, I did resonate with that word, your authenticity, because you were just being real, and it didn't matter what anybody said. It didn't matter if people judged you. And, that was so aligned to the work that I'm doing and who I'm trying to be and who I'm encouraging my clients to be. It doesn't matter when people judge us. If people aren't judging us, we're not having an impact.
Yes.
So
you're not telling the real stuff if people aren't judging you. 100%.
Yeah. It's just surface level.
This then is a very real life example of how being real, raw, and vulnerable online can result in business. Christie paid my publishing company to be a part of this experience because of the stories and the way that I was showing up. It's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Now, Christie is part of my next multi-author book project as well, which is called Corporate Dropouts: From Employee to Entrepreneur. Meet the entrepreneurs who took the leap and soared. And I'm so excited to have her as part of this. And if any of you are listening and are interested in having this amazing life transforming experience, because it's not just writing, it is a transformational experience. It will expand you into the next level of you. Please reach out, pop a comment on this video, or send me a private message, send me an email, however you want to talk to me. I'm always up for a good chat. Please do reach out, because applications for Corporate Dropouts are now open, and we would love for you to come and join, both Christie and I and the other amazing people in this book.
Yes, I'm super excited for that one as well, and loving the community, being able to interact with the other authors and bounce off them and see what's happening for them, and being able to share. That is such a massive piece of that support, and being able to do this in a way that is comfortable and supportive and effective.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Without community, we're not going to go very far. It's something that I'm so passionate about in all areas of my life, is creating community and connection. Real connection. So thank you so much for joining me today, Christie. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I can't wait to read your story, and I'm sure that the people listening can't wait as well.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to it coming out.
Me too. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.